Hello my loves, welcome back to my channel. It's me, Miss Ruby, and thank you so much for stopping by. As you can see by the title, in this video I'm going to give you 5 tips on making a UPart wig. If you don't already know, this is only my second time ever making a sew-in wig. If you want to see my very first time making a sew-in wig, check the description below for that link. But yeah, in these 2 experiences I've learned so much and I'm definitely here to share. So let's get started. First things first, I want to give thanks to the hair company who sent me this hair, West Kiss. They sent me this goodie box with this really cute bandana that I just cannot wait to wear, some eyelashes, and 3 bundles of their Brazilian kinky curly hair in 12 inches. Check the description below to get all the details on West Kiss and how you can get this exact same hair. Tip number 1, measure and or stretch your wig cap. What I mean by this is everybody's head is a different size. If you want to make a custom wig, then you're going to have to measure your wig cap, and then you're going to have to go in and measure your own head, which I didn't do because I wasn't making a custom wig. But just to show you, you want to make sure that you have your hair braided down already before you actually measure it. If you're using a styrofoam mannequin head from the beauty supply and you need to figure out how to expand it so that it can actually be the size of an average head, check the description below for a link on how you can enlarge your styrofoam mannequin head. The first time I made a wig, I made the mistake of making it too small and it was really hurting, so I had to undo all my work just to expand the doll head, just to get the wig to be big enough to fit on my head. Tip number 2, mark the cap for track placement and your U-part cutout. So what I'm doing here is I'm going in and I'm basically feeling where my braids are, and then I'm going to take this lipstick and I'm going to actually just mark the cap where the U-part shape is going to be. You don't have to use lipstick, you can use anything that will show up on this black cap. So I think a lot of girls use like a white lip liner. That's actually what I ended up doing later on in the process, but I used this first. And so I'm just feeling with my fingers about where that braid is. If your measurements are not exact, that's fine. It's better for them to be a little bit too small of a space marked out than too large, because what's going to happen is once you put this wig on your head, it's going to like stretch out anyway. And so if you make the section too large, then you're going to end up leaving too large of a gap in between, and when you go in to sew it on, it's not going to fit correctly. So now I'm going in after I'm about halfway finished with sewing the wig together, and you see me marking it. The second thing that I wanted to show you in this tip is that you can mark for track placement. So if you're somebody who doesn't do this all the time and you don't really have an eye for it, then this is a great way to ensure that you place your tracks in equal distance apart, especially when you get to the top of the wig, to make sure that you're not running out of hair. You may need to mark some spaces and go in and just make sure that you have enough tracks to fill in the rest of the space. You can check your work by opening up your tracks and looking inside. I did double my wefts at the bottom, so that's why there's more space in between the tracks that are at the bottom. But toward the top, I always recommend singling out your tracks and making them a little bit closer together. So that's what I did here. And then you're able to go in and pin the entire track down and just continue on with your stitching. Check the description below so you can see my video on the first time I created a sew-in wig, and you can get all the details on exactly what I'm doing. Tip number 3, cut out the section for your U-part before you stitch down your last track. The reason for this is because I just think it creates a cleaner finish. I've seen girls do it both ways, and this way is just better to me. As you can see, I'm going through and I'm looping the thread around the top, sticking it underneath the cap and underneath the actual track, so it just looks like a seamless finish. You can't see bits and pieces of the wig cap remaining, as well as when you go in to try to cut the cap off after you've already stitched it, you take a chance at cutting your thread, and you don't want to do that. Tip number 4, flip the cap for the bottom track. So if you are somebody who's going to want to put your bottom track underneath your wig cap so that when you place the wig on your head and you lift your hair up, then you can't really see the track, it's going to be easier for you to just take the entire cap off the wig head, flip it over and stitch it like that, and then flip it back over to continue sewing the rest of the wig. Doing it this way is so much easier. You have much more visibility to what you're doing and much more control. And my final tip, tip number 5, is to dry and set the hair in the dryer. Now, I don't know if anybody else does this. This is just something that I started doing, but I'm working with a curly wig here. You may be working with a straight wig, but either way, you may want to wait until after you put the entire wig together to actually wash your hair. And maybe you're just going to wash your hair throughout the time that you own the wig. Who knows? But I wanted to do it this way because it just gave me more control. And I had the entire wig together to where I can go in after finishing my conditioner and actually put the styling product on, which is what I'm doing right now. So now that the styling product is on, if I wanted to wear this wig right away rather than waiting all day for this to air dry, then I'm actually going to take it to my dryer. Yes, like the washing machine dryer. Yeah, I have this little insert that allows me to lay things flat and just do like a really light air dry. So it's not going to tumble around like the clothes would. I'm just going to lay it flat, and I'm not going to make the temperature too high. Instead of putting the heat really high, I'm just going to set it to 40 minutes time dry, and I'm going to make the heat really low. And I'm going to let that do its thing, and then when I take it out, I'll show you guys how it looks. I actually had to do this 2 times because it wasn't quite as dry as I wanted it to be. But after a total of 80 minutes drying on really low heat, I took it out and this is what it looks like. The lighting isn't that great in my laundry room, so hopefully you guys can see it, but it is fully dry to touch. And I'm not going to run my fingers through it right now because I don't want to mess up the curls too much. But even on the inside, and which is one of the most important things if you're going to wear this. And that concludes my 5 tips for creating a UPart wig, or any wig for that matter. Thank you so much for subscribing. God bless you, and I hope you come back for my next video.